Hello guys, you're welcome to the Minority Report Nigeria. I am Chidozie.
And I'm Walter.
And today on the vlog, we are going to be talking about the thin line between preference and prejudice.
It's a thing that is more prevalent in the LGBT community, especially amongst gay men. When the gay men tend to have a lot of sexual preferences. People who want a certain body type, a certain racial disposition, a certain look, and when you get on all these dating apps, they there are always all these specifications. Know this, know this, know that, know this. Sort of like eliminating a lot of people. And then if you are browsing through and you come onto these profiles and see all these things that they have stated that they don't want, and you happen not to belong to them, then well, you can say hi, and then something gets up from there. But recently, there has been this concern that these specifications of things that they do not want is actually some form of discrimination.
For me, I'm just going to go straight to the point. It's always interesting and a little, more than a little irritating to me when there's talk about discrimination, and how it plays out in on a lot of these dating apps with the specifications people make for the type of people they want to go out with. No femme, no fatos, no rice. I think that's supposed to be for Asians. Those kind of really
no blacks,
exactly no blacks, kind
blacks.
of ludicrous terms and all of that. But I mean, here's the thing for me, and then people go, no, it's my preference. But hang on a second, your preference is not mutually exclusive from bias or prejudice. Which is something that really, this is obvious. And, when you talk about discrimination, people go, oh, no, I'm not discriminating against anybody, it's my preference. First of all, I think it's interesting that rather than say what you want, on these profiles, you talk about what you don't want.
Yeah, but even...
First of all, let me finish. And then you talk about preference. Nobody's born liking a certain body type. Nobody's born liking mask for mask. Nobody's born, those kind of things. Those things reflect conditioning, the absence or lack thereof of bias.
Yes.
So we can't talk about your preferences. Your preferences do not exist in a vacuum. You're not born liking a certain thing. It speaks to your conditioning. It speaks to the things you have internalized or the things you didn't internalize. So talking about using the idea of preference, it's my preference as this sort of blanket get out of jail free card. In order to not talk about the fact that a lot of these things constitutes prejudice and discrimination, is just divagating and shifting away from from what we should actually be talking about. And I find it really distracting.
Yeah, it's true though. I mean, yeah, you have a point. It's just, okay, but there are situations, but it is actually like people may actually, there's something a person finds attractive.
Yeah.
It's like in heterosexual relationships where somebody says he's a boobs man or he's an ass man.
But here's the thing, what I'm saying, those things are not phenotypic. You're not born being a boobs man and an ass man. It takes a certain set of conditioning. There are certain things you are made to think, oh, I like this a lot. I like I'm coming. Okay. I like girls we get big. There are certain things you hear and they start to reinforce for you, what you find attractive. So this impulse always talk about preference as though it is mutually exclusive with bias is ridiculous. And then when we start to talk about how these things become discriminatory, of course, these things there are context to this stuff. For example, as a white person, and you on your profile it's no blacks, no rice, no all that kind of stuff. Yeah, now when you look at that within the context of a larger society where there is a power differential between somebody who is black and somebody who is white. How racism works and how racism, functions in a way that excludes people in order to elevate some other people. And then when you look at no fats allowed, those sort of things within the context of fat shaming, the larger culture of fat shaming, in the world, around the world, then it's impossible to then say that is not discrimination. It's one thing to say I want somebody who is skinny. Why use language that excludes. Why not just, okay, this is what I want. I want somebody who is buff and thin and stuff. Why no fats allowed? Why no whites allowed?
I'm going to address 2 points now.
Yeah.
One, in support of the conditioning part, because okay, this book by Gabriel Union, we're going to read more wine. You really have to read that book. Now, in the book, she actually did talk about something, this issue of preferences. According to her, she had been dating white guys. First of all, they grew up in a predominantly white
Neighborhood.
not neighborhood, white town.
Okay.
You know, so she was like, I think one of the very, very few black kids in school. So she had condition, and she was very good. I mean, her acting career probably started when she was a kid, because she was very good at making herself not be the black girl, but to be one of the girls.
Yeah.
So she had been dating white guys, you know, even when she had grown up. And so even though she had this consciousness of black pride and all that stuff, but then one day, according to her in the book, she was having this very interesting, heated black pride conversation with her friends. And one of them points out to her that, well, how come is it that you only date white guys?
Yeah.
And then she wanted to flare up into this whole, well, it's my preference.
It's my preference.
Thing. And the guy was like, you know, now the thing about the positive thing that came out of that was Gabriel had the time to be introspective, to actually question why it was that she only wanted black white guy, or you know. So she really questioned herself, and she explored that thing about her, and it gets to the point where she, you know.
Yes, and that something is your preference really doesn't mean that it is above interrogation, because your preference doesn't exist in a vacuum.
In the parts where you know, stating things that exclude instead of being inclusive, there are people who actually make inclusive demands of their preferences that tend to be objectifying, like those who say the only one be black, well, BBC.
Yeah.
That is objectification.
That is racist. If it's from a white person, that's racist, because that's fetishizing and introducing, you know. But, you know, then again, on an app like Grindr, I mean, you have to look at the context of it. On an app like Grindr, it's you know, hook up and all of that app. I don't think it's the place that anybody goes for romance.
Yeah, no, but
you know,
yes,
exactly.
But there are people know it's still an offensive thing.
It's still offensive, of course.
People who come to any app, it's not everybody that actually people. Even though yes, all people want to do when they get on dating apps is just to hook up and move on.
Yeah.
There's a sense that
there's
want
a fetishization
to be a person,
of,
you know, instead of seen as a sexual thing. If somebody said something about how there was this. I think there was this thread where we were talking about this on Facebook, where somebody said something about those who only go after fat people.
Now, I made a comment about that.
Yeah. So now, you know, because I only, this thing, I found that I've come to realize that this issue about preferences, it only gets, it only riles the woke, you know, like the people who have well, I'm not saying this in derogatory meaning, but woke people, it only riles them if it seems like the preferences are only seeking out the perfect person, like the muscular man, the well-built person, you know, that kind of thing, excluding other body types, or the white man.
And then we have to ask ourselves how we got to the point where a certain body type is the perfect body type.
Yeah, but when it comes to somebody who says, okay, maybe he's looking for only fat people, only Orobos, we don't get riled by that.
Are you sure?
I don't. I think so, because on Twitter there's.
I mean, but it's.
There's someone.
Everything, like
there's
I said,
who actively talks about how he only goes after fat people.
I know this is like
it's
contextual. I don't think you can really compare it to this other one, because here's the thing: you are attracted to fat people. That's fine, and as with everything else, it reflects. You know, there has to be something in your life so far. There has to be a certain thing you find. There has to be something about the fat body that you find attractive, and that also speaks to your condition. But here's the thing, like, reducing there's for me particularly there's something about talking about people more than anything else in context of body types before everything else. There's just something about it that's really icky to me. So somehow you're certain that everybody who is black cannot, like, everybody who is black is the same thing. Everybody who is a certain body type is the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's it reduces people to this lifeless standard. And it just, for me personally, there's something that's really icky. So when somebody say they are only attracted to black people, that you're only attracted to, even if you say you're only attracted to fat people, what does that even mean, that you're only attracted to fat people? What is it about fat people? So all fat people are the same? There's like this big conveyor belt where they just churn them out, fat with the FT serial number, then the buff ones with the BF serial numbers, the skinny ones with the SK serial numbers. Like, what the fuck does it mean to be attracted to a certain body type? It's my preference. So talking about my point is, the fact that you have a preference, it's legit. Yes, it's your preference, but it being your preference does not then put it above interrogation, because you didn't come to that preference, that preference doesn't come to you in a vacuum. And if you internalize discriminatory notions in coming to your preferences will be discriminatory in a way that is troubling and toxic, and that has to be dealt with. That's something that people need to deal with. So talking about using the preference as a trump card in
question,
beating down the arguments about discrimination is just really ridiculous.
Yeah, but here's the question now. Where does it being a preference end, and then the preference being a form of prejudice begin? Like, because people having a kind of, it's something that
it's
that
normal.
We find turn on. It's a normal thing.
It's a normal thing. That's the thing. It's a normal thing. But here's the two things I want to make clear. It's normal. It's based on conditioning. But when it goes from the point, and these things, the way that they are perceived, is based on the backdrop of the larger society. The relationship between whiteness and blackness in general. This is like a small field where these things come to play out. So if you, as a white person, a white person coming online, a white man going on this and saying he wants BBC, it's not the same as a black person saying the same thing. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but let's
you know what I mean. So all of these things are contextual. Somebody saying they want mask for mask, for example.
Only masculine.
Yes, that kind of nonsense within the context of the Nigerian society already. We're already talking homophobia. We're already talking internalized homophobia. We're already talking bottom shaming. We're already talking. We also looking at that within the context of femininity being something to be ashamed of within the context of the patriarchy. So we cannot talk about these things. Do not exist in a bubble. We cannot talk about them in isolation. So when within the backdrop of the larger issues that play off this come to play in these situations, when within that backdrop they are problematic, then we are talking about prejudice.
Right. I guess, and I suppose it's in the wording too, because you come across profiles of people who say, "Please, if you behave like a girl, stay away." Or I do, guys. Not if I wanted a woman, I would go and sleep with. Yeah, the language, I think it's also something that contributes to making
exactly. And I keep insisting, like, the framing is something that's really important. Yeah. This is something I've read, generally, it's something I'm really interested in. How the way we frame things reflect our state of mind. Yeah. It's really interesting to me, like that framing constantly. No firms wanted, no fatsos, no this, no that. Like, why? I think it's a very it's very crucial to look at the fact that people, rather than state what they want, go out, like, rather than say what they want, go and talk about the things that they do not want. I still think having a preference for something is, it's something that is. It's normal. It's very normal. I mean, it's absolutely normal. That's without saying.
The way
it's normal to have a preference for something. This is my argument. It's normal to have preferences because the things that we do, the things that we like, reflect our experiences, reflect the things that have come to play within our own personal lives. I mean, there are certain qualities in people that I've come to like because of certain people in my life or certain figures in my life. There's certain stuff that I've come to really really appreciate in other people. So that is normal. But when those preferences reflect toxic notions that have been internalized, and they're a problem, and they should be called out for what they are. So the fact that something is your preference doesn't then mean that it's above scrutiny.
It's just why it thrives. When we talk about being introspective about this, that's why it becomes problematic, because we have a lazy. We live in a society that is lazy when it comes to being introspective or questioning things that you believe in, or things that you find appealing, or people just don't want to question the things that
nobody ever wants to be the bad guy. That's what it comes down to. Everybody wants
so it's really hard about that. But I suppose, well, the most we can do is appeal to
to do better. To do
better. When it comes right down to it, we want to live in a better society, and one of those ways is to not push narratives that tends to make someone else feel less than. Every day you step out, every day you do whatever it is you do, you try to. I know it's enough taking care of yourself or considering yourself, but every now and then you try to consider what you do that may cause a ripple effect that will affect someone else in one way or the other, especially if it's something that is potentially damaging. So, but yeah, that's the message we have for you
today. Until you come your way next time, I'm Chidozie.
And I'm Walter.
Bye.
Bye.